Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. I don't understand how OP's boss would think the company can carry on having fired the only employee he has. Here we go. Boss firing me without a warning. I worked for a small company for the last 2 years as a software developer. And with small, I mean that I was the only employee. So for many projects my boss had, I wrote the main part of the code base. In March, I made a mistake in one of the updates, and from then on, my boss made it a habit to yell at me at least once every day and tell me how stupid I am. Additionally, he started to call me outside of my working hours to demand fixes for problems that at the most part were his own mistakes. To be fair, my code quality started to go downhill after I had several mental breakdowns thanks to behavior. At the start of May, he said to me that he doesn't want to fire me but would recommend that I find another job in the next month, so I applied to several companies and was waiting for the responses when he decided to terminate me nonetheless 2 weeks later. He wrote a termination letter and sent it to my home address but didn't say a word to me, so I was quite shocked when I received the letter, which stated that I was fired starting July 1st and that I should take my remaining 20 vacation days, which is the rest of my annual leave, in June. But in Germany, where I work, the employer is only obliged to give you the rest of your annual leave if you worked more than 6 months in the company for this year. Additionally, an important project, which I'd been working on since February, was due in mid-June and not even close to finished because my boss had prioritized tickets from other projects. So I wrote my boss that I would like to take the vacation days immediately as written in the termination, but if he needed help for finishing the current project, I would be willing to have the remaining vacation days paid out to me. As soon as I sent the message, I saw in the chat program that he was typing. He answered that the number of vacation days in the letter of termination was a minor spelling mistake and that I only had 6 days left. After a quick chat with an attorney, friend of my parents, who started laughing when I told him of my boss's reaction, I wrote my boss a formal mail in which I informed him that I would definitely take the vacation days as stated in the letter, and because the termination letter also stated that the remaining vacation time will not be paid out, I will withdraw the regarding offer. The next week, he grudgingly accepted the 20 vacation days, and I'll never forget the expression of defeat on his face at the last day when he realized that the project he took a loan for was about to phenomenally fail because I was the only one working on it, and he didn't even try to understand how it works. His slogan was, "As long as it works, I don't care." It's unfortunate when a lack of understanding and support from a boss can lead to the failure of important projects. Sounds like you're better off moving on from that toxic environment. Hopefully, your next work experience will be a much more positive and supportive one. And our second story. A manager wanted me to do one of our stupid job ads. I worked at what everyone calls Wally World. Thanks, National Lampoon Vacation. I worked there for 14 years of my life. For the first 6 years, I was what you call a Stockman, which was basically the person who gathered the carts and helped customers load heavy or large items into their vehicles. Well, we also have been given a lot of small jobs to do either early in the morning when it's slow or if there's another stockman to cover. One being filling the soda machines. Now, we didn't have to fill Coke or Pepsi because of vendors. Walmart at one time had soda machines for their own Great Value soda and Sam's Choice water machines. We'd have to stock that. Now, this day I had an odd short shift. Normally when you open, you work 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., This day I worked 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., a shift I worked before, but usually there's someone that was there at 7. Nope, not today. I clock in and the carts are a disaster. Think about it, no one there at 7, so customers taking and using carts for 3 hours till I got there. So I just start to get the carts caught up, as in the main part of my job, the part I was hired to do. As I was bringing some up, one of our assistant managers storms over to me demanding to know why I wasn't filling the soda machines when I clocked in. Again, supposed to be the first thing you do when you clock in working the morning shift. I explained to the manager that I came in at 10 a.m., the carts are really bad, I figured I'd do them because of how bad it was. He screamed that it doesn't matter, you need to do the soda machines and water machines first, and I can't do anything else till they're done. One reason we do the soda machines first thing in the morning is because, 1, it's slow and we can do it without much interruption since the carts are usually gathered up from third shift. 2, it can take a while to do because we had to open the machines to see what soda was out, Then we had to go to the back of the store to get the soda. We were not allowed to take off the shelf because of taking product a customer could buy. So we go in the back, gather all the soda and water we need for the machines, then fill the machines, each machine. Once that's all done, we have to dispose of all the packaging for the 12 packs of soda and water cases we use for the machines. Finally, we had to get all the UPCs we used and turn them in so they can keep track of the merchandise and not think a bunch of soda was stolen. Cue malicious compliance. I say, all right, Air, whatever you say, and go get the keys to the soda machines. The customer service manager looks confused at why I need them, considering they know how bad the carts were. I had to explain that assistant manager says I have to fill the soda machines before doing anything else, so they give me the keys and I get to work. Now there was 3 soda machines, 1 at each main entrance and 1 in the break room, as well as 2 water machines, 1 up front and 1 in break room. Now this can take a few hours to do depending on how bad the machines were, and trust me, they were bad. Almost everything was sold out, so I'd have a lot of soda I'd need. Different people come up to question why I'm filling the machines. I just tell them manager making me, saying it has to be done. As I'm doing this, the carts outside getting more and more worse, running out of carts for the customer. They are all over the parking lot. Come 12 p.m. when the next stockman came in, and I was still in the middle of filling the soda machine, he came to me asking why I'm doing the soda machines when it's so bad out front right now and why I wasn't getting the carts. I just tell him which manager making me do it, so he goes off to try to catch up. Finally, one of our co-managers comes up to me, they're just below a store manager, demanding to know why I was filling the soda machines when it's clear they need me out front, almost yelling at me for not doing my job. I look him in the eye and tell him assistant manager yelled at me for not filling the soda machines when I came in at 10, even though they were bad then, and told me I had to fill the soda machines first. He walks by, and from me going inside, probably to talk to said manager, only to come back a little later asking if I would please help the other stockman get the carts caught up, and he would finish the soda machines. So I say okay, and go out to do carts. It took the 2 of us a while to get them caught back up. In your place, I would have just assumed that soda machine sales were directly affecting the manager's performance metrics. Added, the manager was just being a jerk, but he wasn't being completely irrational. Hopefully he just realized for the future why early staff are needed. And our next story. No, we are not seeing every attraction at the zoo. I'm going to keep this story short and to the point. Several years ago, I want to say early to mid-2010s, my aunt gathered my sister, myself, and her children so we could all go to the Brookfield Zoo. For those of you who don't know, this zoo is a key attraction if you're visiting the Chicagoland area. It's also absolutely massive. You can spend all day in this zoo and still not see everything. With this in mind, my aunt made it explicitly clear that we were not going to walk across this entire zoo. She said we were each allowed to pick one attraction to see, and that was it. All right, fine by us. Now, here's something you need to know about each of us in the kids' crew at that time. I'm the oldest of all the cousins, so I had some degree of influence over the others. Additionally, for children, we were all extremely clever. We had to be. We're from a very large, sarcastic, and witty family. As I would have been in my preteen to early teen years back then, our plan of attack fell on me, a plan that we all ended up agreeing on. Once we got to the zoo, we each announced an attraction that we wished to see. I wanted to see the desert house, one of the cousins wanted to see the aquarium, one wanted to see the wolves, another wanted to see the bears, and our final wanted to see the bat house. My poor aunt, she didn't realize it until after we'd already seen the bats and were walking away from the aquarium that we had planned our attack perfectly. To her credit, she commended us on this, as there was no way she was going to get us to stop laughing long enough to punish us. We arrived back at the original meeting point a lot later than expected. When our aunt had to explain what happened to my parents, we all burst out laughing all over again. It has to have been nearly 10 years since I did that, if my math checks out, and I still find myself chuckling about it to this day. Next time I head back to the Chicagoland area, I'm going to have to gather up my cousins again so we can enjoy another great day at the zoo. We can laugh about our brilliant plan once again and probably give the hyenas a run for their money in the giggle department. Before you start explaining who chose what I already knew y'all would be choosing, or that would essentially let you see the entire zoo. I love it. And our last story. HOA have issues that I don't follow the rules. I bought a house 5 years ago that a real estate company built on speculation. Mine was the first house in a planned subdivision that they were going to build one house at a time, or as people bought the individual tracts of land. The area kind of hit a boom period and the other surrounding houses went up quick. In my contract to purchase my home, there was no homeowners association, and because I was here first, I don't have to join if any of the other neighbors decide to create. I'm grandfathered in, is what it says in my contract. They all seem to forget this, though, and continually try to give me HOA fines for breaking the rules of the HOA. This has ranged from days I have things delivered to my home, Amazon deliveries on Sundays, to when I cut my grass, to me having vehicles parked in my yard and they aren't happy I own an extra tract of land because I bought 2 to have a bigger yard so I can build a shooting range. I live in the South. This is not that uncommon. The recent event, though, that led to them calling me an a-hole is they came over to ask me to remove the eyesore in front of my garage. Now, my home faces the road, not anyone else's house, so they don't stare at my garage, but apparently they still don't like it. I run a small hobby business of doing woodworking projects, and I have a shelf outside my garage door full of various pieces of treated lumber that I may use one day. It's not the neatest and cleanest area, but it's not a disheveled mess either. So I told them if they lightened up and just left me alone about all the other stuff, I'd consider moving my wood pile if it bothered them so much. They proceeded to tell me that I needed to address all the HOA issues and take care of the wood pile, along with stopping any deliveries on Sundays and getting my other truck out of my yard. They handed me what basically amounts to a ticket, and I trashed it and told them to get the F off my property. They called me an a-hole for my unreasonable behavior and told me they'd be back. Edit. I've been in contact with a real estate attorney about deed and whether or not they can still attempt to legally enforce anything. Also, I've contacted one on creating a cease and desist. I do have cameras on my property. Edit. The vehicle in the yard is just one, and it's not an abandoned wreck. It's a fairly new truck that I use mostly on weekends. It sits there so I can get my other vehicles out easier. I do move it when I mow, so it's just sitting there beside my driveway. Installing cameras on your property provides an extra layer of protection, documenting any potential trespassing or harassment. It's unfortunate that your unique hobbies and lifestyle choices have become a source of conflict, but it's essential to stand firm in defending your rights as a homeowner. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.